Nyuma kabisa, nyuma kabisa.
Well, those are again celebrations from Sugoi in Eldoret in the county of Uasin Gishu, which is the home county of the president-elect William Samoei Ruto, which is one of the places that has burst into celebrations. And we are actually told that schools there have been closed today, just so that they can celebrate the son of their soil, having been confirmed, you know, set for swearing in next week. Indeed, and we can see, you know, Bridget Singana is there, will be joining us shortly just to give us a sense of exactly the situation is there. But before that, let's head to Bondo in Kisumu County, Siaya County, I beg your pardon, where Zacchaeus Mwasame is on standby just to tell us exactly what is happening. Zacchaeus, a very good afternoon to you. How have the residents of that region received this ruling this afternoon?
Well, Zainab and Dan, we are still in Bondo. Kondele of Bondo. And these people are very exciting here. They welcomed us very well, and they have been following the announcement by the Supreme Court in regards to the announcement of that verdict. But where I am now, I realize that as many people were following that on TV and radios and whatever, this group of people where I'm seated, they looked not bothered so much. And I really wanted to find out why were they not even concerned that the elections or the Supreme Court was giving that very important announcement. And now I want just to quickly talk to these gentlemen. Wewe unaitwa nani bwana? Alafu tutangalie ile kamera. Nimeona watu wanacheza tu draft hapa kama kama mahakama inasoma uamuzi. Angalia ile kamera. Tuelezee kwa ufupi kwanza majina yako alafu tueleze.
Naitwa Jaro. Naitwa Jaro. Kutoka Siaya. Nimeshukuru. Tuombe Maulana mwenye miujiza atutendee mema. Samoei William Ruto sasa ajipange tu vile atakuja huku Nyanza na apunguze mzigo ili tupate hata unga kwa bei rahisi, fuel kwa bei rahisi. Achana na mambo ya ufisadi, siasa sasa kando. Hiyo tu.
Asante sana. Songa kidogo niongee na huyu pia. Naomba usonge hivi niongee na huyu. Labda wacha huyu. Ulikuwa unasema you have something to tell us.
All right, you can see Zacchaeus Mwasame there has faced a bit of a signal hitch, but we will be joining him shortly just to give us a sense of exactly how the situation is there. But we can see that the residents quite laid back, accepting that result, Dan.
Yes, and you know, it's significant because this is Bondo, which is where Raila Odinga hails from. Let's cross back to Bondo. I believe the signal is back on.
Maybe.
All right, we'll keep trying to get the sounds and the, you know, the views and the expressions of the people of Bondo, which is where Raila Odinga hails from. And it's like you can see, we're standing by with this, which is we're expecting an address by the President-elect William Ruto to the nation, having, you know, just coming hot on the heels of the Supreme Court's upholding of his election as the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. It's a big day in Karen. There's already some videos we have seen where his wife was leading some prayers for him, as well as some of his members of his campaign team, and you know, the leadership of Kenya Kwanza. They had some prayer session, and so we'll be monitoring to see when he gets to speak and what he has to say.
All right, and let's just cross over live down to Sugoi, where our very own Bridget Sangana is on standby. Bridget, a very good afternoon to you. We've seen elated residents and supporters there in light of this ruling. Just tell us exactly how the situation is on ground. Sangana, I think she's actually on our right here. So Bridget is on standby, just trying to get the proper, you know, signal there from us. But we will be joining her in just a moment to get us and give us a clear sense, you know, of the situation on ground in Sugoi. But of course, we will still keeping tabs on what exactly is happening at the Karen residence. That is the Deputy President's Karen residence is now the President-elect, expected to make a press briefing and of course a statement in a short while. We can see some of his staff members there just preparing that podium there for the President-elect to make his speech, and it will be interesting to hear exactly what he will be saying in light of this ruling. Let's head back to Sugoi, where Bridget Singana is on standby. Bridget, a very good afternoon to you. I'm glad you're back. Good to see you. Tell us what is happening.
All right, we'll be getting back to Bridget in not too long. We just seem to have a bit of a challenge getting through to her, but definitely a place we'd like to hear from, because that being the home area of the President-elect. We also have a lot of our reporters at different significant parts of the country. So we've seen Zacchaeus Mwasama is in Bondo, which is the hometown of Raila Odinga. We have Margaret Kimathi, who is in Nyeri, and Nyeri is the county where the Deputy President-elect, Rigathi Gachagua, comes from. We have people in different parts. We're going to be seeing how different parts of the country are responding. We have people in Nairobi. We have Ouko Kusa and team in Kisumu as well. So we'll be picking up the reactions from the different parts. Ruth Sarmoe is in Nakuru, which is also significant. And we are seeing a lot of celebrations in various parts of the country. And so we're looking forward to just seeing what the people of Kenya have to say, because this is you know, this is a significant one, because there was concern about if we went back to the polls. And as we wait to get that signal back, maybe I can bring back Wakili briefly. Do you feel that Azimio had a weak case? Because having all these things thrown out, all these petitions, do you feel they had a weak case?
Never.
Because it sounded like it hot air, red herring.
Never. What was there, Dan, I think that it's a lack of strategy on the part of Azimio. When you say that forms were intercepted along the way, you know, that's an allegation. And CJ has made it very clear, that's an allegation. You must follow it up with cogent evidence. If you look at Wakili Mahat Sumane, whatever you say about his figures and the way they were presented, he had a cogent evidence, a rebuttal. He said something, then he brought figures. So I think the problem with Azimio largely was strategic, that's one. But again, as I've said before, you can have a bad case. You see, you can come in and say, I am sick, and you are not sick. So you need a doctor to reconfirm that you're sick. And if the doctor returns a verdict that you are not sick, and yet you are before the court, that's why you had the Supreme Court saying there were people who swore affidavits, which affidavits were actually containing falsehoods, and it borders on criminal liability, because they were trying to express a point. The case is really weak on that particular front. But even if the case was weak, then if there was proper strategy, I am very sure then at least judges would have been satisfied that, okay, on this point you have convinced us, and on this other point you have convinced. I think that because of time, they did not have enough and proper time to put up, you know,
but Wakile, you can imagine they were already, the documents already filed even 7 days before the hearings began. So you can imagine they'd already interacted with these, you know, submissions from both the petitioners and the respondents. So to a point where you can say maybe they were not given enough time to go through it. Don't you think that's a bit too, you know, being naive?
No, you see, the case for the petitioner was that this server has been interfered with.
Right.
The case for the respondent is this server has not been interfered with. So the petitioner says, give me the server, I show you how it was done. By the time this petitioner is saying, give me the server, he really does not know what is inside that server. But the fact that the owner of the intellectual property, Smartmatic, refuses to hand over the whole server, then raises the issue what could be in the server. And this was also replayed in 2017. But overall, the truth of the matter is when you go to the court of law, and Orengo said this earlier, you must have content. And that is the content that the CJ is saying there was a bit of hot hair here and there, and that the content was not cogent. It was not strong enough to convince the judges of the Supreme Court.
All right, before we get Khalid's comment on that, we'd like to cross over to Sugoi, where I'm told that now Bridget Ngana is ready to give us the views and the excitement of the people of Sugoi. So Bridget,
Dan, I cannot even begin to describe the sense of excitement that is here in Sugoi. And right now we are in a holding area within the Deputy President, I beg your pardon, within the President-elect's compound here in Sugoi. And the residents here have come out in numbers. Schools have officially been closed. Students are here, pupils are here in the neighboring primary school where the President-elect also voted on during the elections. But let me speak with the people here on how they feel. Karibu sana NTV. Unahisi vipi kuhusu uamuzi wa mahakama ya juu? Ndakushikia tu.
Kwanza kabisa kwa majina naitwa Solomon Tirop, mkaaji wa Sugoi. Mahali tupo hapa leo tuko na furaha. Kwa the 6 judge bench kwa kutoa uamuzi, tunarudishia Martha Koome asante kwa ku declare na kusema ruling ambayo ilikuwa wa haki. Mbivu na mbichi siku ya leo imejulikana ya kwamba the election was credible, free and fair. Na tunasema hivi, tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kuanzia leo na kwenda mbele ya kwamba kila kazi shetani ameshindwa. Tunasema maneno ni bottom.
Kidogo tu msimsukume tafadhali. Anza tu kuongea. Anza tu kuongea.
Kuongea tu. Mimi kama mchungaji ya wasea mio katika kaunti hii ya Uasin Gishu, tunarudishia Mungu asante, sababu wakati tulianza na maombi na uongozi atokana kwa Mungu. Hakuna mtu anatoa uongozi, ni Mungu. Sababu tulianzia hapa kwa Ruto, wakati alianza kuomba, tukaacha hapa tukaweka mkono ya Mungu. Na Mungu ndio alitoa kiongozi. Hakuna mtu ambaye anatoa uongozi. Kitu minaeleza watu tuwe na usalama na tutunze amani katika nchi ya Kenya kwa watu wote. Mimi ni Thomas Ruto kutoka Sugoi.
Okay, kwa majina naitwa Sali Kituru, UDA coordinator at Sugoi Ward. Kwanza nataka kushukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kutuongoza hadi siku ya leo. Pili, nataka kushukuru wakaji wa Uasin Gishu kwa ujumla kwa sababu walifanya uchaguzi wa haki na amani. Tatu, nataka kushukuru Jaji Mkuu Madam Koome kwa kutupa taarifa ambayo tumekuwa tukiongojea sana. Asanteni sana wakaji wa Sugoi. Tuko kwa President UDA, kazi ni kazi.
Mama unahisi vipi?
Kwa majina naitwa Mama Lewis, bottom up. Nimefurahi Ruto amechukua. Nimefurahi, nimekuja na mkokoteni yangu kuonyesha ishara tosha ya ushindi ya Kenya kwanza. Niko na furaha sana. Mungu abariki Kenya, Mungu abariki Ruto. Kwa majina naitwa Rael Maswai. Tunashukuru Mungu kwa uamuzi wa mahakama na tumesema ni shukrani kubwa sana, na wazee wa Kenya tukae kwa amani na tusidi kuidhinisha amani katika nchi nzima. Kwa majina naitwa Sali Chepogei. Nimefurahi, mimi ni mkazi wa Sugoi. Nimefurahi kwa sababu ya president wetu Kefisi. Asante sana, tuko na
Clearly, there's a lot of excitement here and everyone really wants to get a chance to speak. But we'll be covering these celebrations here from the deputy, I beg your pardon, from the president-elect's home here in Sugoi. We'll be giving an update in the subsequent bulletins. But the excitement here is quite palpable and people are really jostling to get a chance to speak.
all right, Bridget, thank you and take care. The excitement can get you knocked down a bit, but
you can literally feel it.
You can feel it from this side. I can only imagine what she's experiencing, you know, when she's there firsthand. So, Zainab, we meant to cross over to Lois Wangoi, but before that, you've got a statement?
Yes, indeed. We have actually just received a statement from the Raila Odinga Presidential Secretariat on the court ruling. I will read that. They've said, in quotes, we have taken note of the decision of the Supreme Court on the presidential election held on the August 9th, 2022. We have always stood for the rule of law and the Constitution. In this regard, we respect the opinion of the court, although we vehemently disagree with their decision today. Our lawyers proffered irrefutable evidence and the facts were on our side. Unfortunately, the judges saw it otherwise. We find it incredible that the judges found against us on all 9 grounds and occasion resulted to unduly exaggerated language to refute our claims. This judgment is by no means the end of our movement. In fact, it inspires us to redouble our efforts to transform this country into a prosperous democracy where each and every Kenyan can find their full belonging. We thank our supporters and Kenyans across the country for standing with us. We will be communicating in the near future on our plans to continue our struggle for transparency, accountability, and democracy. God bless you. God bless Kenya. That was signed by Raila Amolo Odinga, the latest statement from the Raila Odinga Presidential Secretariat on the court ruling.
Yes, and that's available as well on his social media handles where they have posted it. So we see him in the same tone that we had Martha Karua and James Orengo and the rest saying that they disagree but they accept.
All right.
All right. And so let's cross back to the county of Uasin Gishu, and this time not in Sugoi but in Eldoret town, where we have Lois Wangoi standing by. Lois, good afternoon. I mean, we can imagine there's a lot of excitement there. What's the feeling in Eldoret specifically?
Dance, jumps, all manner of color and celebrations by the residents of Eldoret town, which is the heart of Uasin Gishu County and the larger North Rift community. Many here celebrating the confirmation of President-elect's win at the ballot of William Samoei Ruto by the Supreme Court. So a lot of excitement is happening right now, but I don't talk much. I want first of all to listen in to the residents of Uasin Gishu to understand how they are consuming this information. Asante mam, na asante kuungana sisi katika NTV. Pengine utupe majina yako, naona umevaa colors za UDA juu mpaka chini, na utupe maoni yako. Tuanze na jina lako.
Juliana Yanu kutoka Marakwet. Mimi namwambia Mungu simama, amesimama. Mpaka saa hii Martha Koome, asante mama, Mungu akubariki kwa imani yako. Yote iko naye. Mrukoma Kipchumba, ni wetu mama yangu, ni mtoto yangu, ila mina songa ukali kwa mitungi na kulisha Kipchumba. Kipchumba kana Ruto na Gachagua. Ibo, Mungu akusaidie.
Tupate mrembo, pengine utami majina yako na hisia zako ni zipi?
Kwa majina anaitwa Faith Mbula, kijana kutoka kaunti ya Uasin Gishu Eldoret. Tumefurahia sana na hakika Mungu ameweza kutenda. Hii mambo yote ni Mungu mwenyewe. Tumefurahia sana, tuko na furaha. Asante sana.
Sasa hapa sherehe ni mpaka lini?
Leo siku mpaka asubuhi tuko hapa, lazima tusherehe. Hakuna kulala. Lazima tunataka tusherekee.
Tuache tupate ubingwa alafu tukuje kwako. Majina yako na unahisi vipi kama kijana wa Wasingishu?
Okay, my name is Alex and I'm so happy. So we are starting today's celebration till morning. I urge the people of Wasingishu for maintaining peace, and Wasingishu is a peace place, and we ask for the next president who is Ruto. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Let's tuache niongee na wewe. Naona umeweka hata vifaa vya kazi chini. Unafanya kazi ya bodaboda, umeweka chini unafuatilia. Unahisi vipi?
Kwa majina naitwa Noah Kingatich na mimi ni mkazi hapa hivi Eldoret. Kwa siku ya leo tuko na furaha sana na tunashukuru kwa mahakama kuu ya Supreme Court and we are so happy by the way.
Na hivi ndio umefunga kazi ama you're still working?
We are still working but kwa sababu mheshimiwa ametangazwa imebidi sasa sisi wote tusimame, unaona, tusikize yale mahakama wametoa. Yeah.
Asante sana. Tumpishe nani? Huyu. Tusonge nyuma. Haya, tupate huyu. Kitambo jipange njoo. Kwa majina yako na hisia zako ni zipi?
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Kipto Vincent. Mimi leo niko na furaha kwa sababu William Ruto ndio rais wetu ambaye tulikuwa tumemngojea.
Asante.
Haya, kwa majina ni Wesley Kimtai Keter, mkachi ya Wasingishu. Tunamwambia jaji mkubwa Martha Koome asante. Tumesubiri kutoka asubuhi na pato tuko hapa mpaka asubuhi.
Natafuta aliye tayari. Haya, tupate huyu.
Kwa majina naitwa Wesley Kipkoech. Ningependa kuambia wakazi wa Wasingishu ya kwamba Mungu yu mwema. Siku ya hii ya leo ningependa niambie rais mteule William Samoei Ruto ya kwamba as a youth utukumbuke kule nyumbani. Asante brother. May God bless you.
Naona mnasukuma sana huyu binti. Wacha nimpe nafasi. Majina mama?
Kwa majina naitwa Sara Chebi. Mimi nashukuru siku ya leo. Nasema Mungu asante. Tunashukuru maana kwa sababu ametutendea maajabu kwa hii Kenya. Mungu amzidi kumuonekania. Asante sana Supreme Court. Ruto asante sana. Asante.
Okay, kwa majina naitwa Ndume Ruto.
Ruto hivi angalia pale.
Basi naitwa Ndume Ruto. Basi yangu ni wish the elected president, of course, yes. Congratulations. Na mimi ningeomba namna hii. Ile manifesto alitupea atimize.
Asante. Sasa nataka tusonge nyuma. Sauti ifike mkinikaribia. Nataka tusonge nyuma. Dan clearly, Dan and Zain, you can see a lot of celebration in here. I was just trying and get people we could talk to. Yes, now I'm able to get the other side. Hapa kuna watu wa kuongea? Tusonge. Haya. Let me move to this side so that you're able to get a perfect picture. And we start with Mzee. Tupishe, tupate picha jamani. Yes, Mzee.
I want to say one thing. That we are happy that today we have gotten our 5th president, William Samoei Ruto, Daktari. And we are saying he is a 5th president and we shall have the 5th city in this country.
Yes. Happy 5th.
Mimi ni mkaaji wa Wasingishu na nasema asante sana kwa judgment yenye judges wametoa leo. Tunasema asante na tunarudishia shukrani Mungu. Tuna imani na president wetu tumechagua na tutaendelea hivyo kwa Kenya na tunasema asante sana.
Na mimi naomba tuendelee kurudi nyuma so that you're able to get all of you. Utufungie.
Kwa majina naitwa Oscar. Natoka upande Eldoret. Na mimi nasema tu I want to make this clear. Sisi tuko na furaha, hatuna matata. Tunataka kuambia rais mteule William Ruto congratulations. Sisi watu hapa Wasingishu tunampenda sana.
Mimi naitwa Jonathan Gurkat, mkazi wa Wasingishu hapa Ponde la Uba. Sisi kama wakaaji wa Ponde la Uba ama Wasingishu, sisi ndio tunakuza amani. Amani ndio iko kwetu. Sisi ndio tunapanda amani na tumefuna amani. Siku ya leo tuko na furaha sana kukuwa na 50th president of the Republic of Kenya, Daktari William Samoei Ruto.
Now the very last person, you. Yes.
Kwa majina naitwa Willy Lagat, natoka upande wa Moiben, Wasingishu County. Tunafurahi siku ya leo sana kwa kuwa tumechaguliwa rais wetu mteule. Sisi kama vijana tutafaidika kabisa kwa hii serikali kwa kuwa tumepewa Ministry of Youth Affairs na nadhani tutawakilishwa poa.
Nani amewapea ministry? Bado hata hajaapishwa.
Bado kwa manifesto yake alipromise vizuri kwamba vijana watapewa ministry moja. Sasa ni kupima suti tu tuende Kasarani tarehe 13.
There you have it, Dan and Zain. A lot of excitement and really trying to control the crowds here. But one thing is evidently clear. They feel that the Supreme Court has done them justice. And this is them expressing their political wills. And they are noting that from here, they are waiting for the swearing-in ceremony of William Samoei Ruto as the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. We continue to keep tabs and we'll be coming to you from the other side of Eldoret. Yes, with much more later. Dan and Zain.
All right, thank you, Lois Wangoi. There, you know, I mean, the euphoric mood is almost palpable from that part of the country. I don't know if it's the same in Mombasa, Dan?
It could be. I mean, Mombasa has largely been an ODM zone.
Right.
But we've seen inroads made by Kenya Kwanza. And now we can speculate, but twende kwa ground.
Twende kwa ground.
And we have boots. Kevin Mutai, yes, on the ground. Kevin, good afternoon. What is it looking like in Mombasa?
Good afternoon to you, Dan. This general calmness within the central business district here in Mombasa. This is the situation. Only people grouping themselves in public barazas such as this one discussing the outcome of the Supreme Court presidential petition. It has indeed been a long wait for a lot of people who are waiting on this particular verdict, and of course also people having or rather expressing different opinions regarding what was happening at the Supreme Court that culminated in the validation of the Deputy President William Ruto's win as the President-elect. And of course also, as I said, there's been a lot of views from this particular region where Raila and Odinga really went head-on regarding the 2022 general election. It has been a battleground for this year's presidential election, and of course also that also culminated into a battleground for the position of governor. But let's quickly join the residents of Mombasa County. Dan, and starting with you, introduce yourself. What are your names? And give us your feel and the reaction regarding the validation of William Ruto's election as the legitimate president of the Republic of Kenya.
My name is Ruben Mutua Manzia. I congratulate the Supreme Court for the verdict they have given today. We have been here in this Bunga la Mwananchi. We have been always being told that my vote does not count, does not elect any president. I have been being told here it is the systems who select president. But today I have known my vote counts. I congratulate Koome for what he has said to the Kenyans, because our ruling is a very peaceful ruling, because the country the mood of the country is very well. So I congratulate that. So what I would request the President-elect, Mr. William Ruto, I would like to be one among those who will be attending the ceremony of swearing in. And yellow, namnataka wilbaro. Thank you.
Well, of course, what do you think the message that the Supreme Court passed today regarding presidential petitions here in the country after every election?
The Supreme Court of Kenya have given a very good verdict.
Your names, please.
My name is Albert Ouma. The Supreme Court has given a very good verdict. They have looked at the interest of the nation, because we are having students, we are having a transition in the education system that has been affected with a lot of issues, corona and issue of election. You remember our kids were there back at home for 2 weeks. And if this election was to be nullified, the kids were not going to do exams in December and in November. The status of economy of this nation is in crisis. And so whatever the reason that they have come up with is a very mature decision that we believe is going to take Kenya forward. There was a perception that Ruto has demystified that it is a system that installed people to power. And all along, it has been something that has been repeatedly said, that you cannot rule this nation when the cartels does not want you. But he has disapproved this, because today he has been very consistent from the time as from 2019 up to date. And if you remember, in 2019, an election was nullified, and he took it to his responsibility to see that they go for a rerun and they won an election. Ruto has been very resilient and has been very hardworking. You remember his statement saying that he could do 3 rallies when Uhuru was sleeping. Raila was brainwashed with Uhuru, and Raila has a problem, is not listening to those who are intellectual. Orengo told him, this guy is cheating you. Otienda Molo warned him, Babowino warned him. He refused to listen to those people. Instead, he recruited noisemakers, Junet Mohamed, Joe, and Atuoli. Atuoli, instead of defending the common man, the workers, Atuoli was the choir master in Raila's rally. And if you remember the track record of Atuoli, Atuoli has been benefiting from bad governance. He work and collect money from Wainde in this.
So what do you make? What is your general take on the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court has made a very wise decision, and Kenyans will remain calm and accept the verdict and let us go forward as a nation. And the last message to Raila: Raila has fought for this nation. It is high time. We appreciate the democracy he has brought it to this nation and the struggles. We believe that Ruto will preserve those democratic gains of Raila, and Raila going forward will remain a statesman. So what we say to this today is that let Kenyans remain together and work forward in building this nation, because we are in a crisis. The economy is not doing well. Let's fix the economy and let appreciate Raila for the role he has played. So we look forward Ruto and his government to respect Raila, give him the democratic space, and we don't want revenge and we chanting. Let's appreciate Raila. He has brought us somewhere, and I believe Ruto will take those democratic gains from where they are and improve on them, not to take us back to the Moise era.
Thank you so much. What do you expect from Ruto's government?
Mimi nitaongea Kiswahili.
Sawa kabisa.
Mimi kwa majina naitwa Abubakari Maganga, na kwa kusema ule ukweli nimefurahi sana, kwa sababu niko na imani ya kwamba nchi yetu imekuwa na demokrasia ya hali ya juu sana. Na niko na imani ya kwamba yule ambaye amechaguliwa anaweza kufanya kazi kwa sababu ya Wakenya. Kwa sababu tumeona ya kwamba tuko na crisis nyingi sana, problem nyingi kuhusu mambo ya economy, kuhusu mambo ya shida ya uchapakazi na shida ya mambo ya kazi hakuna. Hizo ndo zimekuwa ni problem kubwa. Kwa hivyo niko na imani ya kwamba kwanza kabisa Martha Koome amefanya jambo la maana, na sisi wa Kenya inatakikana kwanza tuwe pamoja sote, kwa sababu huu ushindi sio wa mtu mmoja, sio wa Ruto peke yake. Huu ushindi ni wa Wakenya wote. Kwa hivyo niko na imani ya kwamba Raila Ruto wakati alikwenda akifanya kampeni na kuhusu zile agenda zake ambazo alikuwa amesema atatufanyia sisi kama Wakenya, niko na imani baada ya kuapishwa kama rais ataweza kufanya yale mambo ambayo alikuwa ameahidi Wakenya. Na mimi kama mtu wa Mombasa niko na machungu makubwa, kwa sababu kwa kweli economy ya Mombasa imeenda chini, hakuna kazi, factories zimefungwa. Kwa hivyo wakati atakapoingia katika mamlaka, ninahitaji kama kuna uwezekano arudishe zile ofisi za poti zirudi hapa, na zikisharudi hapa pia vile vile factory ni nyingi. Kuna kama Ramisi imefungwa, kuna factory ambazo niko na imani ya kwamba Ruto ajaribu kuangalia azifufue hizi kampuni, ili wafanyaji kazi wadogo wadogo waweze kufaidika na kufanya kazi wakiwa Wakenya kwa ujumla. Na kitu napongeza kabisa ni kwamba tumeweza kuonyesha demokrasia, kwa sababu ya kwanza hakuna mtu ameingia barabarani kwa sababu ya huyu ama huyu, na hii ya pili pia hakuna mtu ameingia barabarani kwa sababu ya huyu na huyu. Sisi sote ni Wakenya, sisi sote tumecelebrate kwa sababu ya Ruto yuko kwa serikali, na niko na imani wakati atakapoapishwa atafanya kazi kama rais wa Kenya.
Well, Dan, there are a lot of people who want to say a word here, but let me just give one last more person to hear from him. What is your take on today's action and the directives issued at the Supreme Court of Kenya?
Thank you. My name is Peter Munyasya, and I'm a diehard of the President-elect, His Honorable His Excellency William Samuel Ruto. And we want to congratulate him because of his victory. This is the time, you know, we say that democracy dictates our affairs here in Kenya. And we have seen our democracy prevailing well from the Supreme Court, and the verdict that has been given today by Her Excellency Martha Koome. It is one of its kind. And we want to thank everyone. I want to thank Kenyans for maintaining peace. And we want to urge all the political leaders that have been elected. Now elections is over. What we need, it is service delivery to the people. We are not going again to the elections, and we want to tell the parliament, the upper parliament and the lower parliament, that when they resume their duties, they need to work together. We do not want to see a divided nation. This country needs these leaders. We need them to do policies, to formulate policies, so that we as citizens, we can benefit from them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Dan, earlier on we saw General Service Unit officers patrolling the Central Business District, but what we can report at this time and moment is that this general calm businesses are operating as usual, but we will still be conducting a spot check across all the 6 sub-counties and also monitoring the activities happening across the coastal belt, and for sure we will be bringing you up to speed regarding today's verdict delivered by the Supreme Court, and confirming that Ruto's win was legitimate, and of course also Kenyans from this side of the country looking forward to now the president-elect delivering on the promises that he promised Kenyans while campaigning, not only from here in Mombasa, but the 6 coastal counties at large. Back to you, Dan, in studio.
Thank you very much, Kevin Mutai, for that. And we are keeping our eyes trained on Karen, the Deputy President's residence, where the president-elect is expected to be speaking any time now. The indications are that it's not going to be too long from now. We can already see a number of the Kenya Kwanza leaders who are already seated. We could see ANC party leader, Musalia Mudavadi, who is also, according to the agreement they have, the incoming chief cabinet secretary. We also see Alfred Mutua, who is now the former governor of Machakos. You see there Farouk, who is, one of the incoming president's aides, and we could see a number of the other leaders. The excitement there is also, visible, tangible. Everyone is pretty much on phone as they have their conversation. So we are training our eyes there and just looking to see what the next president of the Republic of Kenya is going to be telling the people. Presumably also the Deputy President-elect may be speaking as well.
Right. You can see Aden Duale, you can see Moses Wetangula. We did see Emerson Kingi, we saw Kenneth Lusaka there. All those leaders, of course, affiliated to the Kenya Kwanza Alliance team, seated and are waiting for the president-elect to make his way to the podium to address the nation. Well, just a little bit away from that, back to in studio. I mean, Bwana Khalid, when we're looking at this particular ruling, what does it mean for a country when it comes to the maturity of our democracy and where we sit on how the other people would be looking at us, regionally speaking, and even globally?
Indeed, Zainab, I think this has been a major test for us as a country, not just for our democracy, but also for our justice system. Many people in many other, dispensations would imagine that, a side that is together with the sitting president can never lose, But here we are today. We have seen how independent the judiciary is. They have made a ruling that may appear to be going against the executive. We have a situation where you have a president whose preferred candidate has not carried the day, and you're already seeing statements from, the loser or the candidate who has lost saying, we accept. Yes, we disagree, but we accept. And as Wakili has said here, a court of law is driven by evidence that is presented before it. And we've seen words that have been used by the Supreme Court, words such as disproved, not convinced, not mathematically sound. Basically what they were saying was that, what was presented before them did not stand the test of evidence that is required, to quash or to overturn the decision that was presented by IEBC. And sometimes a court of law is not necessarily a court of justice. This is what the losing side has said. Yes, we agree, we accept that decision, but we disagree with what has been presented before us.
So that's what I was asking before. Do you feel then that Azimio had a weak case in court?
For me, as Wakili said, it's not about the case being weak. It's about the evidence that was adduced before the court. That is what was weak. Because
so they had a good case, but the execution is the problem.
Exactly. That is what I would say, that the execution was not up to the level of the standard that is required in a Supreme Court. This is where you have weighty issues. And as the others were presenting evidence, you'd see the words that have been used. Forgery, for example. You don't expect that, because that's a place where every bit of document that is presented will be scrutinized, you know, to the very last point. So whatever you present, you have to cross the T's and dot the I's so that you make sure that, you know, everything is sound. But for me, I think their strategy was wrong. The sources they used to present the evidence was not sound. And in that, you know, they lost the case. So it's a big defeat for them, and I think also for the lawyers that were there. But as we said, we have to move forward. This is a country that is, you know, has one of the best constitutions around, and we must respect the law, and we accept the decision, and we move forward.
Right. Yes, Ishmael.
You see, the Supreme Court did not want, definitely, did not want to be too nice to the petitioners and then let down citizens. That's why you had the CJ saying, can we, on certain small, flimsy allegations, overturn the will of the people? So I think it was a very important finding and a very good time for the country to assert that you cannot go to the Supreme Court with petty, trivial issues. You will go to the Supreme Court, and definitely the Supreme Court will hear you on weighty, substantiated and credible evidence. You asked my colleague, and I just want to weigh in, how do we look in the face of the region and the international global scene? We look very beautiful. We look wonderful because, I mean, if we don't go to fight as an African nation and we deliver our results to the counting center and we disagree and then we go to the Supreme Court, this happens in the Americas. I mean, in the United States, you've seen where presidents go there to argue that really my votes were actually stolen. We saw that in Biden, in Obama's time, in George Bush. Why? Because we are human. We always feel like if you used a system, and I suspect you've been making calls to a certain quarter, then probably you are being helped by that system. So I think we have come a long way as a country, and Kenya should now be rated among the top African countries that can actually agree on books, on the constitutionalism and on laws. We are good to go. So this is not just against Raila Odinga. I think this should sit down well in the Kenyan hearts. William Ruto, the president of this republic, will be judged squarely on this same constitution, same parameters. It's not like it's a favor they've done to him. He won, and the Supreme Court has confirmed squarely, yes, he won, but he will also abide by the constitution. And I expect him, when he comes to give the national address, to completely bring people together, heal the nation, because there was a divide of 6.9 and 7.1. He should heal people and walk the way he promised in the campaigns, that I will not victimize, I am not after so-and-so, I need to build the nation. I think that's what I expect from him.
Yes,
I think for me also, the next couple of hours, a day or two, are extremely crucial. We have received this information. It's up to Kenyans to now show that, you know, the democracy that we believe in, the judiciary that we believe in, we will continue to believe in that. And as he said, let us not be vengeful. This is not the time to now start asking people to be transferred, as we've seen one or two statements in the past. This is the time to heal the nation now. We must come together and ensure that, you know, we remain peaceful. Key, you know, we have to be peaceful. We are split in between. The new president who's coming in now has a huge task of uniting the people so that we move forward as a country. So the next couple of hours, when we are celebrating, let us be humble in our celebration. When we are sad that we've lost, let us also, you know, accept that, you know, you can lose in this process, and that does not mean that democracy has lost. Democracy has won. Let us work together. Let us move together so that we can, you know, keep up that standard that we have so far, maintain it at that level.
All right. I just want to go back a little bit to still the strategy when it comes to the petitions. We saw the petitioners lodge, what, about 8 to 9 petitions in the Supreme Court. This is also a strategy by the petitioners, but that was consolidated. Do you think perhaps, Ishmael, this worked against you know, the main petitioners, who is Raila Odinga and Martha Karua?
Yeah, you know, initially we thought that was a good strategy to try to throw everybody into the respondent, so to say a defendant. They are going to defend themselves, including the commissioners, the 4 commissioners. But the court was not convinced by that strategy, because then the court should have said that we we find that maybe the commissioners, had a case. We find that the allegations on the system were true. So when I said strategy on my side, what I mean is, when you go to court, how you get the evidence, it's not the problem of the court. It is your problem. If you allege something, how you get the documentation, even when the court ordered open the servers, if the servers are not opened, to be honest, it's not the problem of the court, because you have taken a case to court because you suspect 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the court wants to see the 4 points. If they can't see the 4 points, their hands are completely tied. Yeah. They have to return a verdict saying, yes, you said the system is bad. We really believe your oratory and your explanation. But now, when it comes to whether you showed tangible, cogent evidence, document-wise, collaborated by those affidavits, by respectable people, this did not happen in the, at least we think it happened, yes, that's what James Orengo is trying to say, but the court is saying, no, they were not satisfied that there was enough evidence. So they lacked that bit of strategy of presenting the technical and the kind of evidence that the court needed.
All right. And I think before we continue, Dan, I think the excitement in Sugai is still ongoing. And we're also still keeping tabs with what is happening at Karen.
Yes, and in Karen you could see those are some of the members of the legal team. Pretty much the guys who have brought the victory home,
right?
Who have arrived, from the Supreme Court, and they've now arrived at Karen. You could see that they're being given special seats. I mean, for them, this victory is pretty much.
I mean, they literally drove the victory home.
Exactly, and so I believe they are going to be honored in some way by the president-elect, as the people from his hometown are there, in their celebrations. And interesting that, Ishmael, that we've not heard anything from the outgoing president, right from when IBC made the declaration in regards to any congratulatory message, or do you presume that he was waiting until this happens so that he does not appear to be meddling, yet we know he's the chairman of the team that was in court?
Well, you ask me honestly, I think he's punctured. I mean, I think he's human. We are all human beings. I mean, I cannot lie. Yeah. My expectation, Dan, was probably that there would be a rerun. I'm a human being. So when you tell me, no, the court thinks that it is William Ruto. Well, I'm not in campaigns. I'm not a politician. So I can easily and quickly agree. But can you imagine somebody who was spending resources and influence and the office and all the power to support Raila Odinga, and then all of a sudden you are telling him this on 15th, and today again in the Supreme Court. So I think he's punctured, but I still go back to the issue of strategy. They lacked strategy, and when I look at my YouTube clips, whatever I spoke, even during campaigns and before, Azimio did not mount a correct a campaign commensurate to both their income, their influence, and the goodwill they had from people. All these 6.9 votes you saw are likened to what you saw in Mombasa and in Kakamega, where people, when they were voting, they were actually beating people who are receiving money. And these are poor, honest, poor Kenyans. They did not want money. So these 6.9 are ardent supporters of Raila Odinga. If there was a proper strategy, right from even before the secretariat, from Raila Odinga's own inner circle, and then during the coming together of Kenya Kwanza, you saw what the dispute between Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga, it took a long time. So lack of that strategy costed them this much load. They would have actually maybe 8.5 million, and William Ruto would have come to 7 million or 6.5 million. But because of lack of strategy, I believe, they actually gave the faster scorer time, and you can see how he took up the advantage and moved very fast to score.
Right, Khalid.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with him 100%. And I think you'll recall just before the elections what the opinion polls were telling us, that Raila is ahead by a couple of points, But come the election, and when you go out there, we were out there, and the strategies for the two, you could clearly tell which of the two sides is well organized. And it was like, this side has everything in order. They know what they're doing. They have their teams well planned out. If you look on this other side, they're running on hopes and, you know, inspired that we are going to win without a proper strategy in line. And I think for me, it's not good to, you know, point fingers at lawyers, but the same was, you know, mirrored in court. You could see that these guys are coming forward. They have clear evidence. They're presenting facts, you know, that are irrefutable. But when you look on the other side, you know, even on social media, whatever was presented in court was being challenged. Like, how is that so? That's not possible, you know? So I think for me, this particular election was won and lost in people management. You know, we have two leaders who are inspirational, two leaders who have the zeal and the passion to lead, but then one leader had an extra step into it on management of the people. He had the right people, they had the right strategies, they had the right lawyers with the proper evidence. On this other side, they were merely, you know, counting on, we have the right before us, and we are the justice, I mean, we are the people who are standing with on the right side of justice. That in itself is not enough. It's not enough to give you the, you know, the victory that you so much desire. So for me, I think, you know, it's time now to move forward. We have scrutinized this a lot. It's just to ask the Kenya Kwanza side to embrace everyone so that we move forward as a country, because, you know, Kenyans deserve more than, you know, just going to court and all this. We want to see results. We want to see development. We want to see people coming together. And it's a new beginning. It's a new beginning for us to move forward.
You know, Dan, when you talk about lawyers, you know, those, by the way, both camps had exemplary, experienced litigants.
Right.
You talk about on this side of Professor Muigai, you talk of Kiragu Kimani, you talk of now upcoming Somane. I saw him, how he's presenting his matter, you know, several lawyers, Ngatia, you know. But when you talk about Professor Ujenda on the other side, you know, the Senior Counsel Orengo, Soweto, those are very seasoned and experienced lawyers. There is no doubt about it. Talk of Willis Otieno or whoever. Don't forget Willis Otieno was in Raila Odinga's campaign.
Yes,
Feroz Noroji. Yes. You see. But as I said again, your case can be bad. And howsoever good you are, you will only exist to explain a point or two. But Kenyans now must agree that the Supreme Court has said this is the way to go. And by the way, just for people to understand, if you use football you know, illustrations, sometimes you can score from an offside. If the referee makes that honest mistake and allows the score, you're done. That's the score. So this is not about who was better, who is worse. I think we are beyond that. The Supreme Court has declared that William Ruto's declaration, you know, being declared as president-elect, has been upheld. So
okay, and we have seen the CJ mentioning that, you know, just calling out some of the submissions made in the affidavits.
Yes.
Some of which, like Githongo, she said it's inadmissible. She actually, you know, went on a bit about that. And there was, there were two other people who she raised issue with.
The lawyers.
Yeah. The lawyers,
Ronald and I don't know whether
there was Anon and there was, I think...
let me get that. Celestino Pio, and you had Arnold, all right, I've lost that name.
And so, in such cases, what happens when I have brought a document which is a
forgery?
Yes, which is wrong, which is a lie, is found to be a lie, but it is based on, I'm bringing it as a vowed, you know, document. Is there, what action can be taken against such a person?
I think there were two things. One, affidavits that are deponing or speaking untruths, which she went on to say they border on forgeries, no, not forgery, they border on criminality.
Yes.
She cited the penal code.
Yes.
That's one. Two, there are lawyers who saw affidavits and they actually suppressed the Supreme Court because these are controversial matters. If you instruct me to represent you, and then I'm coming against Caleb, it is not correct that I, as an advocate, again swear an affidavit in court. That is also unlawful. Okay. This is what she was saying. So in those 2 points, let me tell you what's funny about an affidavit. Because down there you're saying, what I have stated herein above is true and correct and from my own information and knowledge, and other source and any other source that I have disclosed. So it is really not that easy to pinpoint that this deponent has deponed falsehoods. If he believes they are, all he needs to explain is that, well, I believe they are true. But on these lawyers, particularly who have sworn affidavits in a controverted matter, a disputed matter between the two, they might not run away from that one. Because you see now, and again, they are expected to know. If you start like, I, Ishmael Nyaribo, do solemnly swear and state as follows. If an advocate is going to court to swear an affidavit in such a sensitive and high voltage matter like a presidential election, that one he has his own burden to carry. But for you to swear an affidavit done and say that I saw a glass on the table, I'm referring to Githongo. If Githongo says a young man came to me and he told me this, okay, the Supreme Court has said that is like hearsay and double hearsay. But Githongo has every right to defend himself that it is true, I did sit with a young man. He can produce that young man. And then that the young man told me this, and I was trying to help Raila Odinga's team to actually explain the fact that there was tampering of the system. It's neither here nor there, but...
So what action can be taken on such a person? Not Githongo specifically, but one where you found that whatever I vowed to by way of affidavit is false.
He would be charged definitely, I think.
So who's going to take action?
Is it the Supreme Court?
Is it the DPP?
No.
Is it...
She already, if you listen to the CJ, she already gave directions.
Right.
The criminal system operators, starting from the police can simply visit your office and say, we have this issue. It came to our attention during the Supreme Court ruling that you signed something. Could you please help us? You know, it is the police who should finally complain, and through DCI, through investigations, and then bring them to book.
In their ruling, the abridged ruling, they mentioned this. They said some of these mistakes, some of these issues are actually elementary, because that's the word she used. Like, it's supposed to be common knowledge. If you're a lawyer, you're supposed to know these things. You know, it's elementary. You're not supposed to, in any way, engage in perjury or such kinds of, criminality. And yeah, it's surprising that it got to this level. But as he said, Githongo can say, "I was told," and there was even a video that was presented before the court showing this young man, making this statement. And I think it was also out there on social media and all that. So for him, he'll say, look, I swore that I was told this. And, he can show that. But so for the lawyers, I mean, some of these issues are supposed to be basic knowledge. You're not supposed, your client is the one who is supposed to swear an affidavit. For it to come to you, for you to be swearing that affidavit, I mean, that's why I'm saying, for me, the strategy. It's not just about, yes, I have a point. When you go to court, someone may have committed murder, that actually that this person has committed murder. But if you don't present the evidence as is required, then you will lose the case.
If I didn't get this wrong, I think the CJ stated that there was false swearing, which would amount to perjury, and they're guilty of misdemeanor. So that is the case. That's yes. What they would be facing. That's a guilty charge. Yes. Misdemeanor.
That is under the penal code.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
The perjury is a misdemeanor, and I think she was making reference to that particular that particular law, where that particular offense is provided for.
So maybe just for the benefit of those of us, and us I mean including our viewers who don't understand your legal jargon, right. What is misdemeanor, what is perjury, just so that we can understand.
There are very serious crimes and there are ordinary crimes. That's how it is categorized. So if you say it's a misdemeanor, really, it's a normal crime. If you are to say that you have done, a serious perjury, then that, it's a question of seriousness of the crimes.
Oh, so there are different levels within which that can be termed. Well, still we are at the DP's residence in Karen, and of course we can see a host of leaders from the Kenya Kwanza team and the president-elect Of course, he's expected to just address the nation any moment from now. We can see everybody is on standby right now. And we will be bringing you those live pictures and that address any moment from now as we continue to keep tabs with the situation on ground. We also do have our reporters across the different parts of the country also just telling us and giving us an idea of the situation in the different parts with regards to this judgment that was made a little bit earlier on. I know there was a bit of for me I think I kept saying ruling, but there's a difference between ruling and judgment.
Yes.
So Dan, take us to school.
Ruling and judgment. Well, there's a lawyer here. I don't know whether I'm even worthy to untie these shoes.
Yes.
During the preliminaries, during the in-between the case, you like what they did the other day, during what you call, interlocutory, that means temporary plannings and making directions. At that time, when you make an application, you get a ruling. That was the ruling. But a judgment is the final pronouncement of the whole suit, of the whole matter.
So wait, so you're saying that ruling is basically a decision that the court has to issue within the context of an ongoing case in court.
Yes, and you can say at a temporary stage.
A temporary stage. But then a judgment is the final decision made by the court.
So we say, for the benefit of your viewers, that an application will attract a decision called a ruling. But a judgment will be after the full listening of the whole case.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, and sorry, Zainab, like you're saying, we've got teams across. Earlier on, we had on the split screens, we had pictures from Nyeri County, and the governor, Mutahi Kahiga, was leading various people in his county in the celebrations of this supreme win, if we may call it that. Now we can still see people from Eldoret. Those are where Lois Wangoi is. Like we saw earlier, Sugoi, we have Bridget Sangana there. In Kirinyaga, which is the home county of the presidential running mate for Azimio, that's Martha Karua. We have Ngina Kirori, Ngina Kirori, who is there. Bondo, which is Raila Odinga's hometown, that we have Zacchaeus Masame. We have Uko Kusa in Kisumu. We have various of our teams here in Nairobi. Leila Mohammed is among those who are the Supreme Court. Brian Obuya has been, to Kibera, and we shall be getting the reactions from these different parts of the country. Here in Karen, as we await, we've seen some of the leaders, some of whom lost in their elections. For instance, I can see there Nixon Korir, or they call him Generali, who was the MP for Langata, but lost to Jalango or Felix Odiwuor. We can also see the former NAS Secretary General, who was also nominated MP in the last parliament, that is Wilson Sosion. He lost, he wanted to be, he was running for position in Bomet County, but he lost at the nomination stage or in the UDA party nominations, that is. We've also seen Wahiga Mwaure, who was the Agano party leader and the presidential candidate, who once William Ruto was, actually just before William Ruto was announced, he had initially said, yes, he conceded, but before that he had said it was a bit too early to concede, but then he eventually conceded. Yes, we can see we are about to hear Atwoli speaking. Francis Atwoli, we know he's been a harsh critic of the deputy president. He has even sworn in public saying that William Ruto will not be on the ballot, he will not be president. So it's, it will be very interesting to hear what he has to say. And so once we have that, we'll cross over to Atwoli. But like we were saying, at Karen, we're also seeing Mwaure Wahiga, who's there. Then we also have seen various governors, because they have been sworn in. So they're not like the MPs and senators who still have the elect as a suffix to their title.
You can actually even see the Mandera governor
Ali Roba, who is the UDM party leader.
Right, and they joined Kenya Kwanza just right after the election.
They were the first. And see, there's been some sort of bleeding of Azimio, so to speak, as to the benefit of Kenya Kwanza. And we can see many people. You also see the lady who has been as Kenya Kwanza is saying, a target of the government, that is Mary Wamboi, who is the billionaire who has been a financier, as has been said. We can see Okoth Obado, a man who has stood against the Raila wave in Luo Nyanza, the former governor of Migori, and he's the one who was leading the Kenya Kwanza campaigns there, helping William Ruto and Kenya Kwanza at large to make inroads into the Luo Nyanza region. And we could see the man who has switched camps, I think, the most in this election season, that's Mike Mbuvi Sonko. He has been on either side at some point, and so I mean, it pretty much looks like we are almost getting to listen to the president-elect. But first, but now we cross over to Kennedy Mureithi, who is in the county of Kajiado, and we had said, we are waiting to just hear from Francis Atwoli, who's been a very harsh critic of the deputy president and now the president-elect or the incoming president. So Kennedy Mureithi, over to you. Let's want to hear what, as they call him, Brother Francis has to say.
Mambo inaleta mzozo. Unasikia? 1 2 1 2 1 2.
All right. Okay.
2022 elections in the Raila Odinga side, and that is the Azimio One Kenya, was Kotu Secretary General Francis Atwoli, who, just like every Kenyan, has received the information today that President-elect William Ruto's election has been upheld by the Supreme Court. And we want to get a few of his views of what he thinks, and today is that day. William Samoei Ruto has been confirmed as president-elect in the Republic of Kenya. How do you feel about this now, knowing that you're coming from an election where you are fighting for the other side?
No, this is what democracy is. We, as an organization that I represent, which is a pressure group that was Kotu, had endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga as their presidential candidate. Just as it is now in Nigeria, in the UK, trade union movement, trade union congress of Great Britain, and the Nigerian Labour Congress, they normally take a position. This time we took a position as an organization. And in my own self, as a Democrat. So we want to thank Kenyans. 1, for having kept peace. 2, and also our presidential candidate, Raila Amolo Odinga, for having resorted when we advised him that the best route, as usual, is to go to court, because we have a constitution that is live. And on 17th, after William Samoei Ruto was declared a winner on 15th of August, on 17th we convened our court executive board, and we said, since Raila Amolo Odinga has moved to court, or Azimio have gone to court, immediately after the verdict, we will be in a position to congratulate the victor in this exercise. We have taken that note, and on that advice this morning, after the confirmation, this afternoon, after the confirmation of William Samoei Ruto as our 5th president, we have congratulated him as an organization. And I personally also want to take this opportunity to very highly thank him for his efforts. And as I've said always, William is an articulate politician. That was what I was saying. But as I had envisaged that he can't become a president, the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya, I did not say he can't be a president. He's a president, and I'm urging all Kenyans of goodwill to rally behind him, give him an opportunity to form his government, support him, as we are aware that our economy currently is in shambles. Let's give him time to see whether he can reorganize our economy for the purposes of improving terms and conditions of service of working men and women in the Republic of Kenya.
In your congratulating President-elect William Ruto, now that the court has upheld his ruling, do you take back everything that you said about him on the campaign, or do Kenyans now believe that that was campaigns and it's now a different era?
I've already, in my opening remarks here right now, I've said Kenya is a democrat. We are a democratic society. And each and everyone in Kenya has a democratic right to take any position and to say anything under the sun in accordance with the new constitution, or to join any persuasion of his or her own choice. That is what is all about democracy. And I know William Samoei Ruto, who has a host of both local and international lawyers, will be able to understand that. It's not only on our own. The Universal UN Charter for civil and political rights provides that any Kenyan anybody in any country that is a democrat can take any position, can say anything, but that cannot be held against the very person who has said that. So we were in electioneering, and a winner is a winner, and a winner must be accepted. And we are all Kenyans. None of us is on transit going to Uganda or Somalia or anywhere. So we must accept that the 5th president of our republic, as it has gone all the required stages, is William Samoei Ruto. That is what we have been told, and that is what Kenyans wanted, and that is what it is.
One of the most famous statements that you said on the campaign trail is Kateni Miti Sugoi.
Yeah.
And now you are of the opinion that nobody should be held. Is it a statement that you would want to take back, even though you say that everybody under the sun was allowed to say anything and we are in a democracy? Kateni Miti Sugoi.
Let me tell you, the moment of not taking back of who said this and that, and that is what William said during his opening, his speech of acceptance speech at Bomas of Kenya, that he would not be able to reflect back on who said this and that. Though he did mention casually that some said I would not be the president. But those are things that happen in any democracy. So whatever we said, whichever what I said and whatever, it is within my constitutional right and every Kenyan's constitutional right to say anything. There are a lot of people, if you go to social media, who are writing, they have called me, they even called William, they have called Wood, everybody. That is what the democracy, this is the freedom our people died for. Fighting that anybody one day will be in a position to say anything. People died. People started fighting for second liberation to have this constitution. If it were not for the current constitution, even he, William himself, would have not been the president. Because anybody who did show up during those days of one-party system, you are taken to detention without trial. So we are saying, as a democracy, we must embrace that. We must congratulate William and his entire team, and we must accept him as our 5th president of our republic. And we must unify this country. This country must remain united, peaceful, and each and everybody should be able to go around doing his or her own businesses unmolested and harassed and protected by the same government of William Samoei Ruto, the way the government of Mwai Kibaki, Uhuru Kenyatta, as oppressive as Khan was, also it protected Kenyans, and the founding father of this nation, Jomo Kenyatta. That is what Kenya should be. And this Kenya should remain an example to other African and third world countries that there is a country on the continent of Africa that can exercise democracy. And when they disagree within that pursuit of democracy, they move to court. And once the court's judgment has been given, they come together and support whoever the court has confirmed. In this case, I have appealed to Kenyan workers and Kenyan in general to accept the confirmation by the Supreme Court and accept and congratulate William Samoei Ruto as our 5th President of the Republic of Kenya.
Well, probably my last question will be, you have spoken on behalf of workers and you have gone as far as saying that it was a decision that was adopted by the workers of Kenya, but does Francis Atwoli, by his own admission as a person, congratulate William Samoei Ruto as the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya, and is Francis Atwoli ready to work with William Samoei Ruto, the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya?
Brother Mredhi, if you play this, what I've said here right now, I said, and on my own behalf, I congratulate William Samoei Ruto. And I said, I am appealing on all Kenyans of goodwill to give him mama support. Yeah, that's what I said. That is acceptance. I said on behalf of workers, I finished, and I repeated that on my own behalf as a Kenyan, I congratulate William Samoei Ruto as the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. And we will support him in unifying the country to rejuvenate economy that currently is in a little bit shambles, so that we can be able as workers improve terms and conditions of service. Not only that, we have officially notified the International Labour Organization, the International Trade Union Confederation, that where we are affiliated, that our Supreme Court today, which is the court that has last judgment, has already confirmed our 5th President of the Republic of Kenya, who is William Samoei Ruto. I've gone further and informed our internationals that we deal with, because in the ILO where I'm an official is a UN agency, and they knew very well that we as workers in Kenya had taken a position. So that is how it is.
Well, Azimio One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga has released a statement a while ago, and it is marries with the statement that has also been released by Martha Karua, where they are saying they respect the outcome of the Supreme Court, but they disagree with it. Now that you're congratulating William Samoei Ruto, is it a position that you will also accept or call on them to do?
I can't speak on behalf of Raila Odinga or Sister Martha Karua. I'm speaking, one, as Francis Atwoli, and also as Secretary General of the Central Organization of Trade Unions. And a position that came out of 17th August meeting, immediately after William Ruto was declared a victor. We agreed in totally that immediately after the Supreme Court ruling, we should congratulate William Samoei Ruto. So I don't want to go to other, I don't want to impute or to take words that are not of within my purview and mandate to say that, oh, since the Azimio leader said this, I should be able to side with that or not. This is an independent statement that I was mandated to make immediately after the Supreme Court. And as you are aware, in our constitution, the Supreme Court decision is final. So we don't want to go into other things. If there is another thing, it will be for another day. But currently now, what we want is peace. Our people, particularly workers, they do piecemeal jobs, casual jobs, temporary jobs, contractual jobs that you are paid once you report at your place of work. It would be very bad for us to quote cows in this country, or to expect some sort of disturbances when we know very well that we will be the most affected people. Because if there are problems in any given country, it is children, workers, and women who suffer. But we have appealed since we started these elections, and even in our campaigns, we were appealing to Kenyans to remain peaceful until we finish this exercise. We have been told this exercise is over after 1 year or more than that, politicking. Now we are looking forward for a new government that will be formed by President William Samoei Ruto, which will take charge of the administration of this country, and we will give them support, maximum support, to make sure that they rejuvenate economy. They attract both direct and indirect investments, so that we can be able to realize foreign exchange when we are doing exports and what have you. And we need to redouble our efforts in our various places of work, so that we will be able to make sure that government collects revenue and we have enough money, and also those investors can be able to grow their economies, to grow their businesses, and hence improve terms and conditions of service of our members. That is our position. Our position is independent. We are from a free and independent labor movement, and we don't speak because so and so has told us say this or do this and that.
Well, thank you very much, Dan. Dan, those are the sentiments of COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli, now saying that he is ready to accord President William Ruto all that he needs to actualize that what he has been speaking. Remember, President William Ruto has been speaking on the fact of the bottom up, and probably, as Francis Atwoli is saying, those are most of the people that he is representing, even as they insist that right now they will be moving to consolidate and bring in direct and indirect investments into the country. So that is one point that he is making, saying that he is speaking independent of what the campaigns were, and now taking a different route as he promises to work with William Ruto moving forward. Done.
Thank you very much, Kennedy Moredi, for that conversation with Atwoli, where we are seeing a somewhat different Atwoli from the one who we've been seeing during the campaigns, and he was pretty keen on moving away from what he has said before and charting the way forward and, you know, framing his acceptance of what has happened on, you know, part of the, what do you call it, part of the Kotu. It's the Kotu statement, not so much his own.
But you know, he says, I mean, this is a democracy, and the fact that, you know, after all was said, it was said in the spirit of campaigns. So that should be now left behind, and we should all move forward as we work together. Well, very interesting to note here as well is the Senate clerk, that is Jeremiah Nyegenya, is just holding a press briefing right now, and some of the issues he's talking about, of course, is pursuant to that Gazette notice by outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta that the first sitting will be held on Thursday, saying that will happen at 9 a.m. and then the swearing and election of the speakers will then will be happening, and whoever is interested is advised to collect nomination papers starting today. And he says that 2 citizens have already collected those documents. We'll be getting more from our very own Naoma Sampao, who is covering that particular happening and development in the Senate, that's in the Parliament here in Nairobi. Well, just going back to, I think, Dan, we should just go back to some of the issues now, much deeper into what was raised in the judgment today. We spoke about the issue of technology deployed by IBC, and I think we covered that on how the judgment was made. The second issue was whether there was interference with uploading and transmission of Forms 34A from the polling stations to the, you know, public portal owned by IBC. And this is what the judgment said, that there were no significant differences captured between the Forms 34A uploaded on the public portal and the physical forms that were delivered to the Bomas of Kenya that would have affected the overall outcome of the presidential election. Now, the CJ, Martha Koome, says there was no credible evidence to prove anyone interfered with the results transmission system, which is part of the KIMS kit. That's the Kenya Integrated Election Management System, and also saying that there was no evidence to show that the IBC chairperson, Wafula Chebukati, or any other staff of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission were part of, you know, what the petitioner said was a conspiracy to interfere with the server.
Yes, excuse me, and that was a significant one, because it was one of those that had a lot of conversation around it. The third issue of determination here was whether there was a difference between the Forms 34A uploaded on the IBC public portal and Forms 34A received at the National Tallying Center and Forms 34A issued to the agents at the polling stations. Now, excuse me, and the Supreme Court has found that there were no significant differences. There is no evidence to show there were differences, and this is where the Chief Justice raised, excuse me, raised the concern about the lawyers who did affidavits on behalf of their clients, which the CJ said was very wrong, because she says that Celestine Anyango Opio and Arnold Ochieng Oginga, you know, did swear affidavits on behalf of their clients, which is wrong. And she was also very keen to mention that, let me read, it says the court ordered scrutiny of Forms 34A from the 41 polling stations that outlined in the affidavit of Celestine Opio to ascertain allegations of interference, found there were no significant differences. And that's when now she says that there was no credible evidence presented to support the allegation that the forms presented to agents differed from those uploaded on the public portal. Then the affidavits by Celestine Anyango Opio and Arnold Ochieng Oginga, while containing sensational information, were not credible, as the registrar's report confirmed that all the Forms 34A attached to those affidavits and purportedly given to them by agents at select polling stations were significantly different from the original certified copies and those on the public portal. The purported evidence of Celestine Opio and Arnold Oginga sworn in their respective affidavits was not only inadmissible, but are also unacceptable. She says that it has been established that none of the agents on whose behalf the forms were being presented swore any affidavit. That there is nothing to show, and they had instructed both Celestine and Arnold to act for them. Yet the two have gone ahead to depone on matters not within their knowledge. So, and you know, the Supreme Court calls out that action by the two, and goes on to just say that. Let me just see, on that one, she's even raised the issue of the penal code, you know, which just shows about, speaks to the aspect of what the content of, the content that is put in an affidavit and how sensitive it is, saying that the section 114 of the penal code states that any person who swears falsely or makes a false affirmation or declaration before any person authorized to administer an oath or a declaration upon a matter of public concern, and at such circumstances that the false swearing or declaration, if committed to a judicial proceeding, would have amounted to perjury, is guilty of a misdemeanor. And so we see this actually raises a couple of questions in regards to some of the affidavits that have been submitted in regards to what has been found, knowing that some of them had issues that were directly opposite, which means that one person must be telling what has been found to be a truth and the other not the truth. And before I throw it back to you for the fourth matter, just pointing out the one affidavit that had, you know, created a lot of banter and discussion across, you know, social media platforms and even offline, was that of John Githongo. So what the Chief Justice read in regards to that is that the contents of the affidavit of John Mark Githongo, which may contain forgeries, are dismissed for not meeting the evidential threshold. They contained no more than incredible incredible and hearsay evidence. And even I'll just pause on that for a bit and just mention that we could see William Ruto's children now walking in, walking into the space where the you know, where the press briefing is meant to be. We can see his son and his wife, and the son's wife, that is, as well as the other sons and daughters. So they're now, it could be signifying that we are not too far from having the president-elect coming to the podium. So this is the incoming first family, which is now getting to sit on the stage. So we are looking to see in how long then the president-elect is going to be joining the rest on the podium, as well as the deputy president-elect, that's Rigathi Gachagua, as they come to address the nation. So those who you see on your screen are pretty much the incoming first family, at least the first family's children.
They actually, you know, the president-elect has, from what we know, at least 6 children. We can see Nick Ruto, June Ruto, Stephanie Ruto. We can also see Charlene Chelagat Ruto, George Kimutai Ruto, as well as Nadia Ruto there. And we also, I believe we could be able to see the First Lady, that is Madam Rachel Ruto, in just a moment. So this is certainly signifying that the president-elect will certainly be coming in to address the nation in just a moment. I can see them clapping their hands. You can see the deputy president-elect Rigathi Gachagua together with his spouse, also his partner, making their way into that particular space, and all the leaders there standing up, just walking them towards where they're expected to sit. And this is the moment where many Kenyans have been waiting, of course, to hear from the president-elect after a back and forth, a battle at the Supreme Court that has finally upheld his victory that was declared by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on the 15th of August 2022. There you have it, Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president-elect, now seated together with the family of the First Lady.
And now the president-elect is now
standing up, and the president-elect William Samoei Ruto making his way to the podium to address the nation, and this is just hours after that historic judgment by the 7-judge bench of the Supreme Court that upheld his win by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Done.
Yes, and he is accompanied by Mama Rachel Ruto, who has already put out on her social media, a congratulatory message to him, and they are now stepping in, and this is pretty much going to signify the beginning of this event. We're looking forward to hearing, the statements by the different leaders here, including like we said, the president-elect, the president-elect, keen to see whether the incoming first lady is going to also speak in the event that she does. It'll be interesting to hear that, what she has to say.
Right.
We could see William Ruto, just having an embrace with the lead of his legal team. That is Bwana Ngatia, who was the lead of the team, as well as the other members of the legal team. That's the Secretary General of UDA there, and we could see the excitement there.
Indeed, most of this is actually talking and shaking hands with the leaders who are the topmost, you would say, the heavyweights within the Kenya Kwanza team, and he's standing up. I believe all right, let's cross over because the national anthem is being played right now.
All right, we're going to start with a word of prayer, and we're going to ask the spouse of the Deputy President, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, to lead us in a word of prayer. Welcome.
Let us pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we stand here to worship and to honor your holy name. You are God all by yourself. We thank you for the great country of Kenya, and to every person that came out to vote and exercise their democratic right. Our Lord and our God, this is their win. We bless you, we honor you, and as we stand here, Jehovah God, to celebrate another milestone where Kenya, Jehovah God, is being lifted up to become a country where God reigns. We worship you and we honor you for the president who you have given to us, and the deputy president, our Lord, and everyone who has been elected. We pray for the unity of all Kenyans, that we will become one people and one nation. Let the unity of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit become our national anthem. In Jesus' name we pray.
Thank you very much. You may take your seats, those of you that have seats, and would like to now call Honorable Eden Duale to just come and address us. Welcome. Oh, for prayers, sorry, I beg your pardon.
Let's pray. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, praise be to Allah, Lord of the world, the most gracious and the most merciful, Master of the day of judgment. It is you we worship, and upon we call for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those who are blessed. You have blessed, not of those against whom there is anger, and none of those who are misguided. Amen.
Thank you very much. So for now, I'd like us to, those of us who are seated, stand up as we welcome the Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, to come and to just address us from the podium. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali. It might take getting used to.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the one and only Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Mama Rachel Ruto, the first family, and all of us who are here today. God is good, and all the time. Do I have anything to say? Your Excellency, today is a great day for this country. It marks the beginning of the economic transformation of the Republic of Kenya. We are here not to say that we have achieved this victory, but to say that this victory was the work of God. Amen. The rocks that were put in our path could not be lifted by a human being. It is all the work of God. And I must say that we have seen the heart of God all through for the last 4.5 years. It's been a long and tedious journey. Against all the odds, against serious mobilization and weaponization of the state machinery. Today, the son of an ordinary Kenyan whose father and mother are not known is the President of the Republic of Kenya. We thank God. I remember last year, we attended a church function at 7 a.m. somewhere in Kano. And there was an evangelist from Nigeria, and he tried to explain to us why our outgoing leader had abandoned William Ruto. And he told us not to worry. It was all God's doing, so that when he becomes president, no man can say he made you king. Therefore, we give glory to God, and we thank the people of Kenya for what they have done for their country. This is a great country, and Kenya has no problem. The problem of Kenya is one of leadership. Once you put the right leadership into place, this is a beautiful country with very resourceful and hardworking people. All you need is to create the right environment for the people of Kenya to prevail. And I have no doubt, agreeing with the rest of Kenyans, that the men we have put into office, Dr. William Ruto, is up to the task. So, Your Excellency, mine is with a lot of humility to assure you that myself and the team under you, we shall give you the necessary support so that you can pretend over the transformation of this beautiful country. We shall work day and night, but I must admit that though we may not be able to be as hardworking, to be as zealous, to be as passionate as you are, we'll give it our best shot. And I want to urge all our colleagues in this struggle, those who have been persecuted, those who have wounds, please, let this victory heal all our wounds. And let us get to work. We have work to do. We are inheriting a dilapidated country with a 10 trillion public debt. We are inheriting a country with 6 million young people who have no jobs. We are inheriting a country with 14 million Kenyans in CRB. We have work to do. And let nobody cheat you that it is easy. We have to work from day one. So let bygones be bygones, and let all those who are against us, we invite them to join us. We build this country together. We have nothing against anybody because we are Kenyans and we are good people. And all we want is the economic transformation of our beautiful country. Before I invite our president, let me take this opportunity, Your Excellency, if you may allow me, give a word of assurance to the public service. We are aware that your morale is low. We are aware you feel demeaned. We are aware you have become non-productive because of what you have been taken through. I want to assure you on behalf of my boss that our first job is to restore the dignity of the public service. Our first job is to cushion civil servants from harassment by officers in the police force under the guise of fighting corruption. Our work is to protect the civil servants from extortion. Our work is to make sure that we get a working public service to assist us in the management of the affairs of this country. And I have no doubt in my mind that if all of us support Dr. William Ruto and his team, in a year's time, he will restore Kenya to where President Mwai Kibaki left us. It is now I'm the most privileged person to invite a brand new president. So join me in inviting the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, to come and say something.
Asanteni sana. Tafadhali tuketi chini. Of course, you agree with me that I am overwhelmed. This is a moment like no other. And let me first take this opportunity to thank the Almighty God. Yes, it is God. I say it is God. Without God, we wouldn't be here. I have gone through many difficult situations, but because of God, we are here today to celebrate that today the people of Kenya have made a choice, and that choice has been confirmed by our judiciary. Let me first and foremost say we are truly grateful as a team, as the Kenya Kwanza team. We are grateful to God because we have come a long journey. We have worked hard. But as the Bible teaches us in Proverbs 20 verses 7, that some trust in chariots and others trust in horses, but we trust in God. It's not the waking up early. It is not the working long hours. It is the favor and the grace of God that has gotten us here. And we are acutely aware of that. Let me also, in a very special way, thank many people who have prayed for us from across the religious divide. Many people have prayed for us. In fact, I said on the day I was given the certificate, I said, we were prayed into victory. I want to thank many people who prayed across this country. Many people fasted. And we are truly, truly grateful. And I want to say to the people of Kenya and to those who have made effort to get us here that we will not let you down. We will work hard and we will not let you down. Let me also, in a very special way, thank my friends, starting with my wife Rachel, who prays for me every day. Before I leave the door from that house behind me, she always holds my hands and prays for me. And my children, for believing in me and always encouraging me. Very special thanks goes to my friends seated here, the people we started this journey with, under very difficult circumstances. I know many of you have suffered because of being my friends. Many of you have been taken to court. Many of you have been harassed, your children, members of your families. The only crime is that you chose me as a friend. I don't take it for granted that you are my friends. We started with many of you who are formerly members of Jubilee. You know what happened to us. I do not want to say. But we believed in a better Kenya. We believed in a freer, more democratic, more rational Kenya. Along the way, many brothers and sisters joined us from other political parties. I want to also say a very big thank you to them. They gave momentum to our journey. And I want to say asante sana. Let me also congratulate and recognize and appreciate the people of Kenya who believed in us. They went out of their way. Under very difficult circumstances, they believed in us. They listened to us. You know, the legendary Mamamboga and Boda Boda guys, they are the heroes of our campaign. They defined this election. They were the embodiment of our quest for a better economy for our Kenya, for our country. The millions of Kenyans who believed in us. Today, by voting for me, the millions who woke up early to go and vote, they have not only voted for me, but they have opened doors and gates for their own children in every village, in every neighborhood, knowing very well that their children as well can become leaders. And every child is free to dream, and every child is free to aspire to any office. And working hard, believing in God, they can get wherever they want to go. I think my election opens possibilities for all our children, irrespective of their background, irrespective of where they come from, irrespective of their financial status. But this afternoon, with the unanimous decision of the Supreme Court of Kenya, our lengthy, suspenseful, and protracted election has come to an end. My fellow presidential candidates and I made our respective cases before Kenyans and submitted ourselves to their sovereign decision at the ballot. After the results of the votes were declared, it was taken up before the Supreme Court for scrutiny to make sure, beyond all doubt, that the will of the people had prevailed. The court returned its verdict, and I welcome it with tremendous humility. I salute the judges of the Supreme Court who have performed their duty with utmost fidelity to the Constitution. They listened to all parties, considered all issues, applied the law, and demonstrated their learning, impartiality, and patriotism. Their professionalism has elevated the stature of the judiciary, enhanced the place of petition process in legitimating election results as the true reflection of the people's decision, and afforded the nation an opportunity to reflect. It also afforded the nation an opportunity to debate and to come to terms with the implications of the last general election. I do not take this for granted, and I thank the judiciary in general and the Supreme Court in particular for staying strong as the shining beacon of constitutionalism and the rule of law, even in the most daunting of circumstances. And you know what I mean. The Supreme Court scrutinized, examined, and dissected and tested the declaration of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission against the high standard established by the Constitution. The decision vindicated the Commission's effort to go all the way and deliver an election that exceeded public expectation and fully met the constitutional threshold of a secure, transparent, free, fair, and accountable election. The return of a unanimous decision on all the 9 issues confirms the fidelity of the IEBC to both the law and the Constitution. I therefore commend the Commission for their noble achievement at tremendous and regrettable cost to serve the people of Kenya by ensuring that their sovereign will is upheld. As I do that, we are all aware that there are men and women who lost lives in this election when they shouldn't. There was blackmail, threats, intimidation, and all manner of attempts to subvert the will of the people. The IEBC stood firm. The judiciary has vindicated the IEBC. This appreciation takes us to the point of proper appreciation of the just concluded legal process. Many of our supporters were a little unhappy about the delay, and some might have been tempted to impute bad faith in the petitioners who they say they saw to be taking advantage of the law to frustrate their wishes as expressed through the ballot. A lot of this anxiety is the result of long-standing suspicion of national institutions, especially when political contestation is involved. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 has done a lot to create comfort in institutions and the rule of law, and we continue to make encouraging progress on the path towards becoming a higher trust society, standing fully on its constitution. It was therefore perfectly legitimate for the petitioners to go before the Supreme Court to have their questions answered, doubts assuaged, and fears allayed. By exercising their constitutional right to take advantage of opportunities to establish the truth, the petitioners tested the result and inscribed upon it the highest stamp of judicial, legal, and constitutional approval. Our electoral and judicial institutions have won, and the Constitution has asserted itself and prevailed. My esteemed competitors now have a credible basis on which to consider the outcome, and we are vindicated by the choice of the people of Kenya. The court's decision completes the loop of institutional stewards of the rule of law, entrench our Constitution, and express the sovereign will of the people who have articulated themselves quite eloquently, directly, and through their constitutional institutions. I congratulate all patriotic Kenyans who presented themselves as presidential candidates. It is not an easy decision, and a national campaign is not a walk in the park at best. I want all of you to know that your effort is acknowledged and deeply appreciated. Wahiga Mwaure and Ruth Musheru, George Wajakoya and Justina Wamai, the Honorable Raila Odinga and the Honorable Martha Karua. May the spirit of love for country and selfless service lie long in your hearts, and may Almighty God always remember you. Competitive electoral politics can make and has made our politics an arena utterly devoid of grace. This fills the life of political candidates with loneliness, worry, and exaggerated sense that the stakes are do or die, and elections therefore matters of life and death. It poisons political competition, exterminating the sporting spirit which unites winners and losers by enabling them to access the grace to define their relationship in terms of what they share and not what divides them. Democracy is expected to unite a people, strengthen their society, and improve their institutions, and must not become an acrimonious, fearful, and desperate enterprise. We offered alternative visions and missions and submitted to the sovereign decision of the citizens of Kenya. We are only competitors, not enemies. We vied to unite and strengthen Kenya, not to divide and weaken it. I therefore consider all of my competitors to be my worthy compatriots. Kenyans are united in the quest for a better society that is kinder to its children, gentler on the vulnerable, respectful of their rights, and committed to serving them. Those who voted for me, as well as those who voted for my competitors, want the same thing for themselves and for their children. I honor this aspiration, and I am committed to do and to rise up early, work hard all day, every day, so that we can realize it together. My deputy and I and the Kenya Kwanza team pledge to make Kenya a country of everybody and everyone. My administration shall do justice to all, regardless of their social status, religion, ethnicity, gender, whether they voted at all or whom they voted for. I therefore extend a hand of brotherhood to all my competitors and to all their supporters. We are not enemies, we are Kenyans. Let us unite to make Kenya a nation where everyone shall be proud to call home. My administration will recognize in full the now established tradition of honoring our leaders who have served this nation and shall not in any manner interfere with their privileges and their entitlements in retirement. They are revered elders of our nation who deserve respect at all times. It is now time for us to prepare for the day when we wake up to the momentous duty to serve Kenyans. Let us all reflect on our contribution and look forward to build this country and nation together to achieve the glory of Kenya, express its heritage and splendor, and fill every Kenyan heart with thanksgiving. As I said earlier, The hero of our campaign is the legendary Mama Mboga and Boda Boda. The hero of the election is one Wafula Chebukati and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. And the hero of our democracy and the rule of law and constitutionalism is our judiciary. We celebrate all Kenyans, and I pledge and commit to work as the Kenya Kwanza team in making sure that we take Kenya to the next level. I will be making a much more comprehensive statement further down the road. I thought I should recognize everybody who has made a contribution towards this success today. As I said, it's not about me and my good brother Gachagua and the leaders who are here. It's about all millions of Kenyans who have made a contribution to us getting where we have. I will shortly be putting a call to my good friend, President Uhuru Kenyatta. We have not we have not I haven't talked to him in months. But shortly I will be putting a call to him so that we can have a conversation on the process of transition. Yeah. I know he worked hard in his in his own way, but the people of Kenya have made a decision. And we have absolutely no issue with the democratic choices of any Kenyan. You remember I said earlier, when I chose to support Uhuru Kenyatta, I did not give him conditions that he must support me. I have made that very clear. So I take no offense at all that he decided to choose and support somebody else. And therefore, we will remain friends as we have been in the context of where we are. And, and we look forward to building on the foundation that's already there in the many issues that I worked with him, and be able to take Kenya to the next level in the many things that we would have wanted to do that we did not do. We are a very responsible people. Government is a continuous enterprise, and we will complete all the projects that have not been completed, as we have said, and we will build on that foundation the programs that we have committed to the people of Kenya, and we will hit the ground running because we are aware of what we need to do. I will also be putting a call to my worthy competitors, beginning with Raila Odinga, my worthy competitor, with his Azimio team, so that we can begin to contextualize how we are going to work together for the people of Kenya. Those of us who will be working from the executive, and the Azimio team who will be working from the opposition. And as I committed to the people of Kenya, I believe in the rule of law. I do not believe in the handshake stories. I believe in an accountable government held to account by a responsible opposition. That is how Kenya is going to move forward. And so I look forward to a conversation on how they will hold us to account and make sure that we deliver on the commitments that we have made to the people of Kenya, and public resources are put to good use in an accountable manner, and so that we can reap the benefits of what the people of Kenya have done in electing us into office. We will then be working with all the other people as we get down to doing what we committed to the people of Kenya that we do. I know there is huge expectation. Many people are texting me and asking, when is the Hustler Fund going to be launched? Many people are asking me, many farmers want to know when subsidized fertilizer will be available so that they can get on with the journey or with the business of growing food for us so that we can reduce the cost of living. Many farmers are asking when we are going to begin the journey on agro-processing and value addition. Many people across Kenya want to know when we are going to begin our housing program. I want to commit that as soon as we are sworn into office, in fact, beginning tomorrow, I will be working with the people in government offices so that by the time we get sworn in, we will have work to do and begin the process of implementing our plan. Let me say to all of you, I know many people have come here. I know many members of parliament are here, many governors are here, many senators are here, members of county assemblies. Let me take this opportunity in a very special way to recognize our legal team, led by Senior Counsel Fred Ngatia and Senior Counsel Kioko Kilukumi and Senior Counsel Kiragu, and of course my chief agent and team leader of the legal team, Professor Abraham Kidhure Kindiki. And all the senior lawyers here, let me not mention all their names. We had the best legal team anybody could assemble. And we are very proud of you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for protecting our victory and for doing your bit. I remember when I talked to them, I told them those of us who are politicians have done our bit. We handed over the baton to them, and I told them they should not drop the baton. And they brought it home in one piece, and we want to celebrate them. Tuwapige makofi jameni hawa makofi. Let me also say, for good record, that these great men and women, our legal team, volunteered their services for free. It is amazing that they said this is a patriotic duty they are doing for their country. And they were going to donate their time, their intellect, their professionalism to make sure that they do that is what is right for Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely appreciate on behalf of the Kenya Cancer team your sacrifice, your contribution, and your commitment to this journey. Asanteni sana. Of course, there are many volunteers There are many volunteers who came across. There are many people who supported us in many ways. There are many people who contributed merchandise. Many people contributed resources of all types, merchandise, airtime, equipment, transport, and it was just amazing. We ran a campaign. Many people believed that I was very organized, but I want to tell you, it was it was not me. Everybody made a contribution. That's why the whole thing looked seamless. We didn't have to push nobody to do nothing. Everybody did what they were supposed to do without asking. So I want to say thank you very much to our team. I want to announce that this marks the end of the politics of deceit and the politics of betrayal and the politics of conmanship. It is the end. We want the politics of the Kenya of the future. Every leader must be held to account on what they say, and they must match what they say with what they do. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, that with the opportunity God has given us, we want to have a country based on the rule of law. As my deputy has said, the criminal justice system will be reserved for fighting criminals and criminality and making sure that public resources are protected and criminals are brought to book. The criminal justice system will never be used again for political reasons. Let me say it again. The criminal justice system will never be used again against those who have a contrary view, political view to ours. I want our competitors to rest assured that the rest of us have been subjected to threats, blackmail, intimidation, and unnecessary fights. I commit that under our administration, nobody will be vilified or victimized or prosecuted for holding a contrary political view from ours. This is a democratic country, and we want to remain so. Our competitors have nothing to fear, like the way many of our supporters have had everything to fear for being our friends or for holding a contrary view from those who wielded power. So, and as I have said, we will respect our President, Uhuru Kenyatta, in his retirement. We will give him the respect and dignity a former head of state deserves. We are honorable people. We are not petty, and we are not jealous. He has done a good job, and he will have his place in the history of Kenya. So nobody should peddle any falsehoods or that we harbor any anything against the President of Kenya. When our good friend Raila Odinga retires also, we will give him the respect he deserves as a Kenyan leader who has made a huge contribution to the democracy of our nation, and every other leader that deserves respect. So to all our friends out there, we want to grow a nation We want to build a society that is based on the rule of law and respect for our elders. So let me leave it there for now. The rest of the things we are going to say, I will take maybe 1 or 2 questions so that we can conclude this press conference. Na nitasema kwa Kiswahili, nitajibu maswali kwa Kiswahili. Si tumekubaliana? Kama mnataka niseme Kiswahili kidogo, nimesema ya kwamba kwa niaba ya team ya Kenya Kwanza tunamshukuru Mungu kwa sababu ya kutupatia ushindi. Hii ushindi si ya William Ruto na Gachagua, ni ushindi wa mamilioni ya Wakenya walioamka asubuhi na mapema kupiga kura ili hata na watoto wao waweze kupata nafasi ya kuwa na ndoto ya kuwa viongozi katika taifa letu la Kenya. Nimesema vile vile ya kwamba tunawashukuru wale wote, hasa IEBC ambayo ilisimamia uchaguzi katika taifa letu la Kenya. Mbali na changamoto za makomishna ambao waligawanyika pale mwisho, IEBC ilifanya uchaguzi ambao ulikuwa wa huru na haki, na kila Mkenya ametosheka. Ma-MCA wamechaguliwa, wabunge wamechaguliwa, maseneta wamechaguliwa, magavana wamechaguliwa, na leo mahakama ya upeo imeidhinisha uchaguzi wa rais pamoja na naibu wa rais, kumaanisha kwamba IEBC ilifanya kazi ya muhimu. Na nimesema shujaa wa uchaguzi huu ni Wafula Chebukati na makamishna waliohakikisha ya kwamba uchaguzi huu haujapatilishwa na watu ambao walikuwa na njama ya kuharibu uchaguzi wetu. Nimesema vile vile tutapata nafasi kama viongozi kuongea na rais wetu ambaye anaenda kustaafu ili tuweze kupanga mambo ya kukamilisha succession kwa njia na taratibu ambaye iko na heshima. Na nimesema vile vile kama vile tuko na desturi kama taifa, viongozi wetu wote wale ambao ni elders wa taifa letu, viongozi wanaostaafu kama rais, watapata heshima na watapata haki yao katika mahali pa heshima katika taifa letu la Kenya, na hakuna wasiwasi yeyote kwa mtu yeyote kwamba kutatokea na jambo lolote. Yale ambayo yamefanyika, Waswahili wanasema yaliyopita si ndwele, tugange yaliyomo na yajayo, na hivyo ndivyo tutakavyofanya. Tumekubali vile vile ya kwamba kamwe criminal justice system katika taifa letu la Kenya haitatumika kuendesha mambo ya siasa katika taifa letu la Kenya. Wanasiasa wote wako na huru wakuwa na msimamo tofauti ya kisiasa bila ya kujali ya kwamba watashurutishwa, watalazimishwa, watafunguliwa mashtaka yasiyo na maana. Hiyo haitafanyika katika taifa letu pale tukiwa viongozi katika taifa letu la Kenya. Wananchi wengi wameangaishwa, wamesumbuliwa, wamefanyiwa mambo mengi kwa sababu ya misimamo yao ya kisiasa. Na tumesema haya mambo tutayakomesha. Tunataka kuwa na nchi ya demokrasia, mahali maoni ya kila mtu ni ya muhimu na hakuna mtu atashurutishwa kuwa na msimamo mmoja ama msimamo mwingine. Any questions, good people? Thank you very much. I don't think you have any questions. Uko na swali ya kusema nini? Sema jina.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Congratulations on your win. My name is Ibrahim Karanja. I work for NTV.
Yes,
you
Ibrahim.
You have repeatedly said during the time the IEBC declared you as a winner, and even now when the Supreme Court has upheld your win, that you will work in your government and with the opposition to the extent that it remains in the opposition. From where you sit, how should Kenyans take then your move of incorporating members of parliament who were elected in what were opposition parties in the election? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You know, as I have said, there are many people who today are in Azimio, not because they want to be. We have many people who are forced, blackmailed, threatened into belonging to Azimio. There are many leaders. If many of these leaders, if they tell you their stories, they are horror stories. Many of them were told, if you don't join Azimio, this court case, KRA, will be brought on you, and many other threats. And that's why I said the other day, our good brothers, competitors on the other side, they have to really think of how to take their coalition into the future now that they don't have the instruments of blackmail, threats, and intimidation. Because they have built their coalition using force and blackmail. And you know, this is a country, a democratic country, and you cannot force anybody to make political choices they don't want. Imagine even a law was passed that makes people prisoners of a certain coalition. That once you sign a piece of paper here, and they make sure you sign that piece of paper at night when the lights are switched off. And then you are told, once you sign, you cannot leave. You know, that is not a country that we all wanted to belong to. So there will be people who will want to join Kenya Kwanza, and you know, a majority of the people who have decided to come and join Kenya Kwanza actually were people who we were together before. They were just boxed into a corner, threatened, blackmailed, and told they must belong to a different formation. So, because we are a country of free choices, yeah, I want you to know that we will have an opposition in Kenya. There will be no handshake like the one we witnessed before that creates a mongrel of a government where nobody knows where the line is. That one will not happen. But there will be people who will choose because of preference, because, for example, I'm sure maybe you are talking about Ali Roba and his team. Ali Roba and his team are members of Jubilee. We were together. Or Kiraitu Murungi for that matter. These are people we were together. They were just told, you must be here, otherwise X, Y, and Z will happen. Now that we are breathing fresh air and freedom has arrived, they are now, they can now make the choices. Thank you very much. Any other question? Yes, my good friend. Mpatie ule microphone.
Congratulations, Sir President William Ruto.
Asante.
My name is Kevin Mihona from Mwangaza TV.
Yes.
Your Excellency President, there are young men like us who had some different thought about the verdict of this ruling of the court. What would be your encouragement to them? They are burning. I've been from the streets of Nairobi, and some of them are burning. Kindly tell them a word of hope. Thank you.
As I have said, we are a democracy. And in a democracy, the majority have their way, the minority have their say.